Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the program Double Standards, which we present to you on every Monday from 6 to 7 p.m. This program is live and interactive. Usually this program is conducted by myself and the guest who passes his comments on the issue of the day is Alan Hart. Alan is still unwell, but today we would like to take him on the phone from Ashford, where he lives in Kent. So he would be part of the program, but on the telephone for a short while. So hopefully he would be all right next Monday, and when he would be bringing strength to the program. So as we all know, we don't go into the details. Whenever we discuss a mega incident like the Paris carnage, we, in the realm of journalism and broadcasting, we discuss the 4 W's. And 4 W's are what, where, when, and why. As regards to what, where, and when, they have been covered extensively by the world, print and electronic media. I would be focusing today on why. So why this happened? So why this bloodshed, this bloodletting was carried out in France? Why France? So many questions. First of all, we express our deep sympathies and express our solidarity with the French people and the French government on this very sad day in our modern history. So we are with the people who really faced the brunt of these sanguinary marauders of ISIL. We mentioned a few months ago in one of our programs that the Western powers, especially in Europe, along the coast of the Mediterranean, they will have to beef up their security. They will have to tighten their border controls, because these 14.5 million refugees, as per the UN Commission for Refugees, their statistics are concerned, and a very large number of them, more than 3 million, they are on the coastline of both sides of the Mediterranean. They are trying to enter the Western European nations. Because they are welfare states, so they provide the food, they provide the shelter, and they can house them, they can accommodate them for a period of time until the situation in their homelands, in their countries of origin, the refugees, that improves. So, but we indicated that, we mentioned in one of our programs 3-4 months ago that along with these millions of refugees knocking at the doors of Western European nations, there is a fear, there is attendant fear that some ISIL outfits are drafted into under the guise of these refugees. So once they enter, they have the training from ISIL, they have the training from their most powerful nations in the region that are providing the training, their arms, and you know which country is there, and who is providing the funds and ways and means and ideology. And above them all, the superstructure. There's one most powerful country on earth that is really helping, that is collaborating with these 3 people. The fund providers, as one of the members of the GCC countries, the very powerful economy amongst the Muslims, they are providing the funds, they are providing the ideology. The weapons, arms, command and control is being provided by the powerful ruling elites in Tel Aviv, and ISIL are their soldiers. So the question arises, with around 10,000 semi-literate itinerants, how they are controlling while headquartered in Raqqa. They are controlling northeast of Nigeria, Libya, Sinai Peninsula, Yemen, and many other parts, Iraq, Syria, and elsewhere. So it's not possible the practitioners of wars and civil wars who produce literature on these subjects, I mean, it's not discernible that how these 10,000 shabbily clad, with very little command and control, little education, so they are controlling and they are executing, they are exploding these bombs, and they are killing people in cold blood with assault rifles. A very big question. We have to take into account that there is some superstructure there that is helping them to not to be condoned, but they are helping them through the nets of International Court of Justice, international prosecution, so they are getting away with it. Every year in September we have the UN General Assembly session, on which all the leading issues facing humanity, facing 207 countries of the world on the planet, they are discussed. And terrorism, global terrorism, extremism, radicalization, brainchilding the innocent people, weapons, arms, civil wars, all these issues are discussed extensively. And at the UN Security Council, certain issues are discussed and some UN resolutions are passed accordingly. So the killer is prosecuted, and the one who is oppressed, who is killed, is sympathized with. But still the killers are getting away with it. France has already had a carnage on the 17th of January this year, about 10 months ago, at a French bakery and at Charlie Hebdo cartoon caricature newspaper. But after that, what lessons France has learned to beef up security? France, as we all know, is the sixth biggest economy in the world in ranking. And militarily, it is also the sixth strong military power in the world, with all ways and means, aircraft carriers, state-of-the-art bombers and fighter aircraft, artillery, modern assault rifles, modern combat weapons, modern cyber security systems, intelligence gathering, reconnaissance, surveillance, all these things are in place. But why France wasn't prepared for this sort of incident, this sort of gory incident that killed 135 people as of today and critically wounded in excess of 350 people, and 30 of them, they have had the life-changing injuries. So big question that France, being part of the coalition forces, carrying out aerial attacks on the strongholds of ISIL in Syria and in Iraq, in Raqqa. So a lot of lessons to be learned, that if France is part of the coalition and eliminating the scourge of terrorism by attacking them, there could be a boomerang effect also from ISIL. A strong military history of 300 years at least. So what France should have taken into account, the law enforcing agencies in France, they should have taken into account that the ISIL would fight back. And they will pick up the targets very carefully at a time when the French government is laid back, is a bit complacent. I don't say naive, but I can use the word complacency. So when they are complacent, laid back, and slightly relaxed, so they will pick up their time. The timing, the venue, and the means, these are very important to execute these sort of terroristic activities. So they very carefully pick up the targets. ISIL, they have the command and control in the countries that are very powerful, that have been notorious for killing innocent people within their countries and elsewhere. Their intelligence agencies, they kill the people in the UAE, and they get away with it. They kill the people in their own countries, the innocent people, the children, the old people. I'm talking about Israel. Why should I be reluctant about mentioning the name? So they provide the command and control, they provide the weapons, they provide the training, they provide the deployment also, and they help them towards picking up the target. Otherwise, these shabbily clad, these semi-literate ISIL activists, either they are trained by these countries or they are provided command and control and training on site. So these ISIL people, when they get adequate information, adequate command and control structure, and information about the ground where they have to hit, they will have to attack. When they get hold of that information, they pick up the most popular venues, and those venues, and the timing. Timing is usually they carry out over the weekend. If you remember, on the 17th of January earlier this year, when they attacked the Charlie Hebdo and a French bakery, what they did was, it happened on Saturday. It was weekend. People were relaxing, they're chilling out at restaurants and attending this time again over the weekend, night between Friday and Saturday, between 13th and 14th of November. So people were dining, chilling out. They were watching football matches at Stade de France, and they were in the concert at Bataclan concert hall. So they were relaxed, chilling out. So that was a time when people are not prepared for this sort of attack. So they attacked. So again, picking up the timing and the places, the shopping malls, the bus stations, the train stations, the airports, the seaports, busy seaports, sporting events. So they pick up these targets very carefully. Hospitals. So they kill the people in multitude. So France, what measures France adopted in the last 10 months is a big question. There are so many gaps which have to be discussed, which have to be addressed. That's why France did not demonstrate the professional counter-terrorism strategy in the last 10 months or so. And I'm sure now they have learned a lesson. Every country on the planet with strong military prowess, with strategy, with tactics, with professional armies, professional law enforcing agencies, every country has an office for lessons learned. So I'm sure France is running that office. So now they have learned a lesson. Otherwise, at this time, it's only about 2 weeks from now when France is hosting another mega event, and that is the 21st UN Climate Change Summit at Le Bourget, another town in the north of Paris. So they are having the 21st UN Climate Change for 2 weeks, starting on the 30th of November and concluding on the 11th of December, in between 10 working days, so 2 working weeks. So France is organizing that. And so far, as per the latest statistics, more than 170 million euros have been spent on this event, and more would be spent in the next 2 weeks, 4 weeks. And another thing is, the more than 8,000 people would be attending that event directly or indirectly. The journalists, the broadcasters would be covering this event. And again, there are attending fears that they might strike again. But given France's resolve, the writ of the state, we are quite confident, and we express our best wishes to the law enforcing agencies in France that they conduct and they host that event successfully without any risk of any sort of attack such as this one. So many questions. What lessons the French could have? It's not my wishful thinking, but that's a reality. I would like to put a question to the audience after the break, when they come back and they ask any question or they pass their comments. And the question is, what lessons France should have learned from Britain? Now, Britain is also a porous country with borders, porous, permeable, but Britain, after 7/7/2005, Britain has learned lessons. So they have tightened their border controls, they have modernized their command and control, cyber security and all these things. And we see that on Saturday we had the Lord Mayor's procession in London, which is 800 years old, and God forbid, nothing happened. So what lessons France should learn from Britain? I will discuss that after the break. We'll take a short break and come back to you soon.